If you've ever tried to submit Facebook ads, you know how frustrating it can be when you get that generic email that says that your ads were rejected. And all it does is give you a link to basic advertising policies. I wanted to create an AI agent that would actually look at real-time meta policy and determine whether or not my ad headline and my ad copy were going to be flagged or rejected. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through how I created this using Relevance AI. And at the end of the video, I'll show you how you can get a copy of this agent for yourself to start using. Okay, so inside Relevance AI, you have the ability of creating AI agents that will let you do pretty much anything you can think of. So the first thing that you have to do when you're creating an agent is determine what the user input is, right? So for this agent, all I need is the ad content and the ad headline, because that's what I want to check against. So you'll notice that I've got ad content, ad headline here, and you can add more user inputs just by going down here and choosing one of these options. So I put in a default of an ad that I was running and the headline, so that I can test this as I go throughout it. So the first thing we want to do is we want to look at scraping websites. So that's one of the beautiful things about Relevance AI is it gives you the ability to scrape a website and use the content from it. So I'm going to hit this first, and you'll notice this extract website content, right? So this is the action that I'm using to do this. So all you have to do is put in what you want the URL to be for it to scrape. And so the first thing that I'm looking for is their spam policy. I kept getting these rejections about it being spam, but it wouldn't tell me what was spam about it. So I gather that information in this. I go through and I'm doing it for all advertising policies. I'm doing it for prohibited content and ads, and I'm doing it for the restricted content that they have. And my goal here is to build a real-time knowledge base about these programs, because here's the thing, Facebook, Meta, they change their policies all the time. So you can't just have some static text file that says these are the policies. You have to go out and actually get the data so that you know that you're looking at the most current policies for their advertising. Now, once I've got all of that information, then I can go through and I can just do an LLM. So I'm just going to choose LLM here, and I'm going to use OpenAI GPT-4. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to say, okay, use all this content that I got as a knowledge base, right? Essentially, in this step, what I'm doing is building a prompt that's going to be sent to GPT, to OpenAI, and it's going to go through and give me results based on that, right? So the prompt that I'm writing is use all of this content as the knowledge base. And what these double brackets mean is that I'm referencing a variable from a previous step, right? So you can see that I'm referencing the output of the spam policy, the advertising policy, the restricted content policy, and the prohibited content policy. Now that I have that as my knowledge base, I can say compare this ad headline against the documentation to identify if it violates any meta advertising standards. If it does, give 5 suggestions that would pass the meta standards for this ad headline. The content of the ad is this, and I really just put this last step in here because I wanted to have context around what the subject line is referring to in case there is something that's labeled as spam or inappropriate. It can use the content of the ad to give me better headlines. So then once I've done that, you can see that I've run it once and it says, okay, the ad headline does not appear to violate any Meta's advertising standards. But just to make sure, here are 5 other headlines that you could use that definitely will not cause any problems with their standards. So now I'm going to go down and I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I'm going to do it for the article content, right? So again, I'm using the LLM right here, and I'm using OpenAI and GPT-4. And I go through the same process. I say, using this as a knowledge base, I add the 4 outputs. Then I say, compare this ad copy against the documentation to identify if it violates any standards. If it does violate any standards, give 5 ad copy suggestions that would pass the meta standards for the ad copy. And then at the very bottom of this, this is the output that I got from this specific one. So it does not appear to violate any, but here are 5 copy suggestions just to make sure that you're complying. And it gives me all of these options, right? And then additional information about what I should do to change it. Now, this is not a foolproof. Now, this is not a foolproof plan to make sure that every ad is going to pass Facebook standards. But here's the thing. This is giving me a first run at what do I think is causing an issue before I post it, right? Because the amount of times you get rejected goes against your business manager account reputation. So you want to make sure that you're submitting these ads as clean as possible. Now, things change, but I wanted to have a head start on making sure that my ads were compliant. So then at the end here, I've got this the different answers from both the headline as well as the spam checker. And what I want to show you now is, let me just save that. I want to go to use. So this is actually what you will use when you're doing it. The stuff I was just showing you is really about building the agent. But if you just want to use the agent, I will give you the URL so that you can clone this for yourself. But you would just come in here and say, great, like I use this, here's my ad content, here's my ad headline, run the tool, and then it's going to give me all the answers that I just saw inside of this. Now, you could embed this on a company website. You could embed this anywhere you want. If you are running an advertising company, you could use this in your own company. You could also, hand it out to your clients. So these AI agents are very portable, very useful. And like I showed in the video, this has the most up-to-date content coming from Meta. So if they change something today, tomorrow when I run the ad, I'm going to have that change in there. And the agent is going to be smart enough to know whether or not my content is being flagged as spam. I will have a link to this at the in the description of the video, or you can DM me if you would like to get the copy of this AI agent. Thanks.